legit. It through the grapevine she is so.
We kill him. We the reason he did.
Y'all know how he did.
On February 28th, 2026, this 19-year-old rapper walked up to his rival's front door in broad daylight, knocked, and got shot dead in seconds flat. But what happened in the hours leading up to that knock, and the real reason he said he went there in the first place, is what makes this story so much harder to shake. To understand what put Watt Block J4 on that porch, you have to understand where he came from and what was already moving long before he ever left his house that morning.
He bumped me like I didn't kill J4 in this motherfucker, girl. They bumped me like I didn't kill J4, girl.
J4, also known online as Watt Block J4, grew up in the Peabody-Darst Webb neighborhood on the south side of St. Louis, a tight cluster of public housing projects built around the 1400 block of Peabody and the 4800 block of Shreve. The people from that area go by a name that combines both addresses, and in the local drill scene, 1448 is not just a number. It is a whole identity, a way of life that gets passed down from one generation to the next on those same corners.
Nah, for real, for real. And what that stand for, 1448, like, what that mean? Ooh, 14 nice 48 days, that's hard.
The hood has been called one of the most legendary in all of St. Louis, and the people who grew up there will tell you that without flinching. There is a realness to that place that is hard to put into words. Generations of families living on the same blocks, shopping at the same stores, watching the same corners from the same windows. An OG from the neighborhood put it into words in a hood documentary filmed just last year, and what he said tells you everything about the kind of place J4 was built in.
What's up, OG? Talk your shit, man. Tell us something about her, man.
Man, I've been down here forever. This is my back right here. I grew up right back here. I can tell you everything. This is the back of Port and Brockton, and up the top is Edge. That building right here, that's where I grew up at. You hear me?
Real deal.
That's where I grew up.
And I want to ask, like, was it originally like Bloods and Crips, and like, how was it like?
No, it wasn't Bloods and Crips. It was just everybody.
Everybody.
Even though if it was Bloods and Crips, we still was a family.
Right.
That same documentary, filmed by TJ Films as part of their Brick City Day series, is also where J4 made one of his most memorable on-camera appearances. Around the 6-minute mark, you see him step in front of the camera, confident and relaxed, repping his block like he owned every inch of it.
Tell her who y'all is, who you with.
Man, I'm J4 shit. Look me up on Instagram, YouTube, J4 shit.
Say no more J4.
J5, Gino B Hundo.
Nah, for real. Gino.
Shit, nigga, this Wapo Real. You catch me at Wapo Real from one photo.
Watt Block.
That was J4 in the summer of 2025, full of energy, talking about his music and his block in the same breath. He had just dropped his EP, Free Fin Gang, that July, and was building real momentum in the local scene. His Instagram bio described him as an unsigned artist promoting his album Resentment, and his YouTube videos were pulling tens of thousands of views locally, which for an unsigned artist in a city like St. Louis means you are actually doing something right.
Down the chimney he will come with his great big smile, and you'll find that even if
We ain't spending.
in a later style.
Brody stay on 10, he tryna spin, I say let's go. So we hit like block, unlock my door, I'm swinging it for sure. J4 don't trip off, hold that tender shit to get in niggas smoke. First shot out, see me Glock, he hit the ground on bro, he touched the floor. I like that fit red sport S, Gino said Malibu's too slow. I missed my all from 34, switch on the back and it ain't choke.
He was also tied to rapper Mo P, a well-known St. Louis figure connected to the 48 Shreve and 55 Dipset circles.
I feel alone, we make niggas die, right in front, stay home.
And that connection gave J4 real visibility in the scene. He was not just a street name floating around. He had music, he had a crew, and he had a future that people around him were beginning to take seriously. But J4 was not making music from a safe distance. He was doing it in one of the most dangerous pockets of real estate in the entire city, a neighborhood where the rival set was not across town or in a different area, but literally across the street. The Frenchtown crew, also known as the 1300 Frenchies or Nightcrawlers, operates out of the Frenchtown apartments along South 13th Street, which sits almost right next to 1448 territory, and local residents will tell you the distance between the two sides is about 20 steps. That is a conflict that lives in everyday life, in a look across the street, in a car that passes too slowly, in a group chat that goes sideways at 8 in the morning. And that last one is exactly where February 28th started. According to multiple accounts that came out in local drill communities, J4 was active in a shared group chat early that morning, somewhere around 8 a.m., where he and people from the Frenchtown side were going back and forth. Some people who were in those chats said J4 was waking rivals up and poking at them, basically daring them to respond. By around 11 a.m. on February 28th, J4 made his way to the 1200 block of South 13th Street, directly across from Peabody Elementary School, where children were going about their normal day. He was dressed in all black, holding only his phone, moving with the kind of relaxed, unbothered energy of someone who genuinely believed a conversation was still on the table. What he did not know, or maybe what he chose not to believe, was that inside that apartment, whoever was home had already made up their mind about what was going to happen the moment he knocked on that door. A Ring doorbell camera mounted on the outside of the apartment captured everything that came next in about 18 seconds. You can see J4 walk up to the porch with no weapon on him, just his phone in his hand. He stops at the door and knocks a few times, and then with almost no delay at all, before any talking or warning or even a second for anything to go differently, gunfire comes pouring out from inside the apartment. Multiple shots in rapid succession, described by people who studied the footage as coming from what sounded like a Draco-style weapon, a compact AK pistol that fires very fast. J4 gets hit multiple times, including in the face and head. He turns to try to run and collapses right there in the driveway. Officers from District 3 responded to the scene, found J4 with multiple gunshot wounds, and got him to a nearby hospital, where he was pronounced dead. The footage spread all over social media within hours. Instagram pages, WorldStar Hip Hop, YouTube channels covering St. Louis drill, all of them picked it up and ran with it. And by the time the first full day was over, tens of thousands of people had watched it and were already weighing in. Online communities in St. Louis drill forums quickly put a name to the alleged shooter, a Frenchtown affiliate known as Kendo B, or Slapperson, a young man from the 1300 Frenchies set, who also made local music on the side. The St. Louis Metropolitan Police confirmed that one person from that residence was taken in for questioning, but as of the time this was written, no formal charges had been announced and the investigation was still open. What happened after the shooting, though, was almost as shocking as the shooting itself, because the Frenchtown side did not stay quiet about how they were feeling.
Man, it's a good fucking day. I ain't gonna fake it, girl. Like, it's a good fucking day on my daddy. Like, it's a good fucking day, girl. Like, I ain't even mad today, girl. Like, I'm hella happy on my mama. Like, just a good day, girl.
That right there is from a live video posted by Frenchtown affiliates not long after the shooting.
Man, J4, nigga. Y'all know that, nigga. J4 wouldn't have been dead if he ain't knock on my partner door, nigga. They talking about doing DoorDash orders and shit for real, girl. J4, we kill him. We the reason he did.
Y'all know how he did.
They were celebrating out loud, and one person in the video made it plain. And then there was a separate live from someone the community identified as Crepa1K, who was also making his rounds online after the shooting.
We kill him.
They stay big for us to do that though, cause like this, they stay asked for us to do that.
Like, we kill him, cuz I had that same Drake that my partner smacked him with.
I don't even want to tell him what hey. I rage baited that man to his death this morning. I can show it.
Nigga, he called the group chat early one time.
No.
I ain't even finna get on that, girl, but you know that ain't.
Now, in the street code that runs through a lot of these situations, bragging after a killing, especially one that falls under self-defense, does not always earn you the respect you think it does. And the people closest to J4 were not about to let the Frenchtown side shape the story however they wanted. Mo P, J4's close friend and affiliate and one of the most respected voices in St. Louis drill, came on camera and addressed the whole thing directly. He did not hold back, and he made his position clear from the jump.
Man, crazy, man. Come on, bruh.
We credited niggas for. Boy, that was your life on the line. Boy, you had to kill him, boy. Come on, bruh. Is you serious? Do this shit be serious, bruh? Get the fuck out of here. It's a you and him situation. Fuck out of here. I catch a self-defense. That's what they gonna tell me. Stupid. You gotta pull down choppers for this shit. What about the niggas who pulling down choppers? Y'all just discredit them niggas, man. Fuck out of here. Self-defense ain't no motherfucking hat. Come on, man. Y'all nigga, I give it to any nigga. I'ma credit any nigga, bruh. I'm in the streets. I lose niggas. That's what it is. You think I'm finna be, oh, yeah. Bro, I lose. I'm in the streets. This shit gonna go on for forever. Come on, bruh.
Mo P's point was straightforward. If you had to kill someone because they knocked on your door with no weapon in their hand, you do not get to walk around acting like you did something special. He said the person inside could have called the police, could have stayed quiet and not answered, could have found any other way to handle it. Instead, they opened fire on someone standing there holding a phone, and that is not the kind of move that earns you real respect in the streets. The way Mo P saw it, the shooter was scared, and fear is not a badge of honor. But J4's mother, who came out publicly on Facebook just days after the shooting, told a completely different story about why her son went to that door, and her words stopped a lot of people cold. She said the rivals in that same group chat had been threatening to kill her, not threatening J4, threatening his mother. They were posting her picture, telling her son what car she was driving, letting him know they had eyes on her every move. And when J4 heard enough of that, he made up his mind to go handle it face to face. Her words, as shared across the community after the shooting, were, "Ninjas was talking about unaliving me. That's why he went over there. They've been watching me. Them ninjas lurked on me and I had no clue. That's why my son felt so comfortable going over there, because they talked every day in that chat." She also made a point of saying that J4 and some of the people on that Frenchtown side actually used to be friends.
Big Ugly Boy 1.0, man.
Now come down here. What's up? So call yourselves, bro. Like,
Yeah, 148, but this bro. It is downtown, bro.
bro. So what's all pay for? Like, and like burning, like how they show up.
Yeah, she be bloody grill. Yo, 148 drug down Chris. So yeah, these Chris again, they 60 Chris.
What? She ain't not thought of laughing. We tried to set up, boy.
They fell out at some point, but they were still talking in that group chat every single day, and that daily back and forth is a big part of what made J4 feel like walking over there was not as dangerous as it actually turned out to be. When you talk to someone every day, even if they are supposed to be your enemy, you start to feel like you know where the line is. J4 miscalculated where that line was. And she said one more thing that hits differently once you know how this ends. She said, "My son always defended me, even until his death." Now, it is worth taking a moment to look at the other side of this, because not everybody in the community saw it the same way. Missouri has something called the Castle Doctrine, which is a law that gives a person the right to use deadly force inside their own home when they believe their life is at risk. And there are people who argued that J4's reputation in the scene, the early morning group chat taunting, the fact that he walked up to the door while reportedly on a live stream or FaceTime call with people watching, and the long history of violence between the two sets, all of that together could have given the person inside a real reason to believe they were in danger. Online forums were divided between people who saw J4 as a young man who made a bad read on the situation after being pushed by real threats against his mother, and people who thought it was a reckless move that should never have happened. But what nobody on either side was disputing was the basic fact. J4 showed up with no weapon, he knocked on the door, and he was dead in under half a minute. That alone is what kept people talking for days and pushed a lot of them to start digging into the longer history between these two sets, because this shooting did not come out of nowhere. It was the latest chapter in a conflict that had been running for more than 10 years in a neighborhood where both sides can see each other's front doors without even stepping off the porch. The beef between 1448 and Frenchtown did not start with J4, and it was not going to end with him either. Both crews move in the same tight housing cluster in Peabody-Darst Webb, separated by ground so short that locals will tell you it takes about 20 steps to cross from one side to the other. It just means there is never any real break from the tension, and in a world where drill music, social media, and street codes are all tangled up together and feeding off each other every single day, that tension finds a way to turn into something deadly faster than most people expect. The roots of this conflict go back to the 2000s, when gang culture from Los Angeles, Bloods and Crips affiliations, started spreading into these neighborhoods and creating divisions that eventually hardened into the sets people know today. 1448 came together as a mixed group combining Blood-connected people from the Peabody side with Crip-connected people from the Shreve side, which is unusual but makes sense when you understand that survival was the main goal. Frenchtown stayed mostly Blood-affiliated and held their own corner. And even the older residents who have watched all of this from the beginning will tell you the same thing. This cycle has been running so long that it barely surprises anyone anymore. The 1448 side has taken real losses through the years. Back in October of 2022, a 48 Shreve affiliate known as Curry B was shot and killed, and his death directly led to the creation of a new alliance called Back Pocket Gang, or BPG, formed because the crew needed to come together just to survive the pressure they were under. Around the middle of 2023, a rival from the 200 MG set known as Spin was ambushed and shot in a car on the highway by 1448 connected members. Another rival, named Kif Foe, was killed at an intersection by a 1448 affiliate named Turkey Butt, who ended up facing murder charges for it. The pattern of revenge and loss never really stops in situations like this. Each death creates the setup for the next one, and the people dying are almost always teenagers and young men barely into their 20s, right at the age when most people are just beginning to figure out who they are and what they want their life to look like. J4 felt that weight, and you can hear it all through his music. His album Resentment, which he was still pushing on his Instagram right up until his death, had tracks built around loss, loyalty, and the daily reality of living on the blocks he came from. One of his most personal tracks was called Forever Long Live Kink, a tribute to someone from his circle who had already been taken from the streets. He was not rapping about this life from the outside looking in. He was deep inside it, and somewhere he understood what staying inside it could cost him. What gives J4's story an extra layer that is hard to sit with is that just a month before he was killed, he was on the other side of this exact same type of pain. About a month before the February 28th shooting, J4 had been posting disrespectful content on his Instagram aimed at a recently deceased St. Louis rapper known as HB, whose real name was Stefan Marmon, another 19-year-old from the Jennings area who had been shot and killed in early January of 2026.
You don't smoke HB! Boy, you goofy ass dog on my daddy!
Dissing people who have passed is a regular part of drill culture across the whole country, not just in St. Louis. Artists do it to plant their flag and send a message that the beef does not die just because someone does. But when you look at how this played out for J4, timing is almost impossible to ignore. In January, he was dissing a dead 19-year-old, and by February, he was 19 and dead himself, with people on the other side doing the exact same thing to him. That mirror is a hard one to look at for too long. And on the morning he was killed, J4's last Instagram stories were not even about Frenchtown. They were directed at a completely separate set called D1 and JMO Gang, which tells you something about just how many different fronts a young rapper in his position was dealing with at any given time. The investigation into J4's death is still going. As of early March 2026, one person remains in custody for questioning. No formal charges have been publicly announced, and homicide detectives with the St. Louis Metropolitan Police are still working through everything. There are real legal questions still on the table about how Missouri's self-defense and castle doctrine laws apply to a situation where the person who was shot arrived unarmed and never even made it past the front door. And those questions are going to matter a lot depending on what prosecutors decide to do. But outside of whatever the legal system eventually works out, the people who knew J4 and the community around him are sitting with a question that no courtroom is going to answer. And that question is simple. At what point does a beef that lives online become more dangerous than the beef in the actual street?
I want to ask, like, so what you taking more serious, like the streets or rapping? You know what they say, you can't do both.
J4 never got to find that balance. Do you think J4 gambled his life by going to Kendo's apartment unarmed? Let me know what you think in the comments section. Also, click on one of the cards on your screen to see more videos like this. See you in the next one.